had a fabulous weekend and you were able to do some fun stuff or just relax if you wanted to do that as well. Welcome to Aries Rose TV. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Aries Rose. We're going to talk about a few topics that have been trending that caught my attention so we can end this week off and then get ready to start for next week where we will continue the show with some more topics. So if you are a returning Aries crew member, you know the drill. Let me know you are here by saying hashtag Aries crew in the comments. If you are a first time viewer, let me know you're a first time viewer by saying first time in the comments. I want to give you a shout out for stopping by and spending part of your day here. We have a few topics lined up for today, so it's going to be a short live. Our first topic we're going to talk about, or one of the topics we're going to talk about, is YouTuber P2isthename passed away at the age of 26. If you're familiar with this YouTuber, let me know in the comments. This was the first I've heard of their name, but they have a pretty large following on YouTube, so they were relatively popular. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and what's known at this time. Kanye West has dropped a new song. It's featuring Diddy's son Christian King Combs, and his daughter North, along with a rapper out of Chicago. I believe her name is Jasmine. We're going to talk about that because Kim is not happy that North was included on that song. And there's some weather situations going on out in Texas. Severe winds in Texas are making it look like a scene out of Mad Max. It's kicking up a lot of dust, causing issues with accidents and visibility. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and the cause of death for the dog that was found deceased, along with acting legend Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa. A potential cause of death has been released on that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. And the first story we're going to talk about here is the popular YouTuber P2isthename has passed away. TMZ is reporting Philip Inawali, and let me know if I'm saying the last name correctly, known on YouTube as P2isthename, was found deceased on Friday in a mailroom. Doesn't specify if this mailroom was at a place where he was living, if it was at a place of employment or a mailroom somewhere else, as well as the condition he was found in. That's kind of not known at this time, just that he was found in a mailroom. It's not too many details that are available right now, but there is an investigation that was launched. So we'll find out a little bit more as those details start to roll out. The family did speak to TMZ and they confirmed that he passed away on Friday. And in addition, they've asked for privacy during their time of grieving. So they've asked that if you want to mourn the YouTuber, that you go to their channel. Anawali rose to prominence by posting NBA 2K and Fortnite gaming videos. So that was the way that they initially started to build their following on YouTube before posting more general video game content. So if you're into that, you may be familiar with this YouTuber. Again, let me know in the comments if you are familiar with them. P2isthename. And the other stuff that they started to branch out to as their channel and their success was growing was doing their own clothing line. So you had a clothing line that was Wally Co. So I'm not sure if that's going to continue since he has passed away or not, but that was something he had going on before he passed away. And as of the filming of this video, he had 3.87 million subscribers. So that's really good. So he had a large following on YouTube. The last video I saw on there that was uploaded was about 2 weeks ago, and it looked like he was leaving LA for Atlanta in one of the videos as well. So I don't know, it had a heartbreak emoji, so I'm not sure if it was due to a relationship situation changing or not, but it looked like he was in the process of moving from one place to another. So as more details come out, we'll definitely look into that to see what's going on, but may he rest in peace. He was only 26 years old. And if you're here on the live, welcome. Let me know if you are a returning Aries Crew member by saying hashtag Aries Crew in the comments. Let me know if it's your first time watching by saying first time watcher in the comments. Want to give you a shout out for stopping by. Kim Dog 1975, thank you for being here. You had a good weekend. So we're going to go into our next story here. Kanye causing some more trouble here. So he's been in the news recently, and this story is going to relate to his music, but other situations he's been in the news for is, I believe it was at the Grammys, and his wife Bianca Censori went there, and she was pretty much wearing absolutely nothing and took off a large fur coat that she was wearing to expose that she had on a very sheer nude dress that you could pretty much see her entire body. So that definitely stirred up some controversy because that's not something that's typically done on the Grammys. I'm all for fashion, but I don't know that necessarily putting your whole entire body out there is considered fashion, but she definitely does that, and she's pretty much always in various states of undress. And let's pause here for a couple of comments. Amy, hello. How are you? Thank you. And the other situation is he was pretty much went on a rant, I believe, on X, where he was making a lot of negative comments, and he was even promoting shirts with, symbols that we don't necessarily want to promote. And he was, trying to talk at people that had been a part of some atrocities that had been done in history, which is just pretty much making everybody question what's going on with Kanye. And he's definitely not the Kanye from the days when he was saying that former President George Bush doesn't like black people. He's light years away from that Kanye. I don't know what's happened in between in his life that's changed him so drastically, but he just comes off as a completely different person than he was when he first came out on the music scene. And I'm really praying that he's able to find some balance. I know he believes that he's okay, but just the actions are saying something different. And this latest situation he has was stirred up because he's released a new song that's featuring Diddy, who is in MDC right now, who's had all 3 bail requests denied for the various allegations and lawsuits he's fighting on a federal and civil level as well, but I believe he's in MDC due to federal charges there. And it also features his son, Christian King Combs, and Northwest, the daughter that he shares with Kim Kardashian. And there's also a Chicago rapper that's on there. Her name is Jasmine. I'm not sure of her last name, but there's also another person on there. But the other names are currently more well known, and Kim tried to get a judge to stop Kanye from releasing that song because she, assumingly so, does not want her daughter associated with anything that's going on with the Diddy case and situation that's happening. And that's understandable. North is still a minor. She's a child, so she just probably wants to have her removed from that situation. And also, Kanye's been going through some things publicly as well and falling out of grace in some people's minds as well. So she doesn't want her daughter to be a part of that. And I respect that. As a parent, I think I would probably handle it the exact same way and just want them to have a father-daughter relationship, but not to bring her into that or maybe have her with controversial people on song lyrics because, sometimes people are going to judge her based on that. And that didn't appear to be something she was able to successfully do. So let's talk a little bit about it. So this track was dropped by Kanye on X, and the song's titled Lonely Roads Still Go to Sunshine. And this song was dropped before he had mentioned that Diddy was featured on it. And it starts with a voice that sounds like Diddy telling Kanye that he appreciates him taking care of his kids and reaching out because not a lot of people have done that right now. And Kanye has been vocal recently about his support for Diddy and wanting people to support him. I believe it also said from what I was reading in TMZ that he was saying that Diddy basically raised him, but they didn't obviously know each other as Kanye was growing up. But I think he just means that his music, because at that time Diddy did have a lot of hits that were out there. He was a part of a lot of groups that were successful in the R&B and hip hop world, so he definitely had an influence on the culture and the music that was being played during that time. So that's kind of understandable from that sense, if that's what he meant by raised him, because he was a major part of the 90s all the way up through the early 2000s. I feel like all the way through the 2010s, Diddy was definitely a force to be reckoned with in the music world, but that has since changed because there's been numerous allegations and things learned about him since that time. But at that time, before all of this stuff was known to the level it is right now, he was pretty much on top of the music world in the R&B and hip hop industry. Now, I don't remember Diddy and Kanye being particularly close or shouting each other out before all of this stuff happened with Diddy, but maybe they did have a closer relationship than it seemed like. I just remember Kanye always being with Jay-Z, but I didn't know he was that cool with Diddy. So I don't know if that's more of a recent development or if they do have a longer history together. But Kim did not want the song to be released after she found out who was going to be on it. So I guess it was um, North that went out to go see her dad on a weekend, and he had her lay down her line on the track and said that it was going to be going out with a Sunday service. And that wasn't the case. It was going to be on that track with Christian Combs, Diddy, and Kim sent out an emergency. She sent out a cease and desist to try to get that track to not be released, and then she also requested an emergency hearing with a judge and a mediator, and Kanye didn't even show up. So he didn't want to be a part of it. I guess he said the song wasn't going to be released, but it did get out. So we'll see where that goes. I haven't seen anything more on it, so I don't know if there's going to be any further legal action or what next steps either one of them are going to take. I guess Kanye also released some photos of text messages exchanged between him and Kim saying that they're going to war. So it looks like their relationship is still pretty strained and not as amiable as I'd like to see them be, especially because they share 4 children together. And I just hope that their kids don't get exposed to these types of things, because you really want them to care about each parent. And it's important that the parents are put on a united front in front of the kids. So I'm hoping that they will be able to come together and work out whatever differences that they have so that they can co-parent in peace and it works out well for their family and they don't have to experience these things publicly. And I do wish the best for Kanye. I hope he gets whatever he needs to feel validated and to be comfortable and just kind of get back to that stability in his life. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you listen to the song, let me know if you like it. If you even still follow Kanye, let me know here. I'm curious to see if anybody still listens to his music. If you like that stuff, anything like that, let me know. And see here. All right. And now we're going to talk about some severe windstorms that have been going on in Texas. So I saw a video that was on TMZ and it looked like a scene out of the movie Twister. That wind was so strong, it looked like the guy was literally just about to be picked up and caught up in a giant gust of wind. So I guess this is happening out in Texas and it's been toppling over some big rigs. So those are pretty heavy trucks. So if the winds are strong enough to knock those over, that is really strong wind. So the wind speeds are getting up to about 80 miles per hour plus in Texas Panhandle. And it looks like it's also kicking up a whole lot of dust. So it's affecting visibility because it pretty much looks like you're in a giant dust storm. And then you got these strong winds on top of that. So anybody who's driving in it, it's causing accidents. So I definitely wish all the best to everybody out in Texas. I think I also saw Oklahoma is experiencing some situations like that too, and there were some evacuation orders according to what I was reading on TMZ. So if you're in any of those affected areas, please make sure you are following any evacuation warnings or you're able to be as safe as possible because the weather is definitely changing out here. It's like it's causing a lot of issues with these changes, whether that be storms, heavy winds, a lot of rain causing floods, fires like what was experienced out in California earlier this year. So a lot of nature definitely crisscrossing with the life here. So we'll keep an eye out on that to see how things go. But if you are in Texas or Oklahoma or any other area affected by that, let me know how it's going here in the comments, or if you know anybody that's affected by that. Curious to get some firsthand perspectives on what's going on with that. And if you're on the live, let me know if you are a returning Aries crew member by saying hashtag Aries crew in the comments, or let me know if you are a first time watcher by saying first time watcher in the comments. I want to give you a shout out for being here. If you haven't already done so, please like the video, share it out. It helps YouTube know that we are here. It gets the video out to more people. We're trying to reach 1,800 subscribers here. So if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. If you like entertainment news, we try to go live multiple times during the week, post videos, shorts, also on the community page. So if you enjoy fun entertainment, learning something new, this is the perfect channel for you. And we hope to see you back as part of our Aries crew. And our last story we're going to talk about today is the acting legend Gene Hackman was found deceased a couple weeks ago, along with his wife, Betsy Arakawa, and their dog was one of their dogs. They had multiple dogs, but one of their dogs was found deceased as well. It was in a crate in the closet. So they believe either Gene or Betsy put the dog there, and then they passed away, and the dog obviously was not able to get out of there. So they believe that the dog passed away from starvation and dehydration because it wasn't being fed or able to get food by being in a crate. And that's pretty much what I thought had occurred with the dog, especially when they said where the dog was found. That just made sense because the people that would be taking care of the dog were not alive to be able to continue to do that. And they have since talked about what the since come out what the cause of death was for Gene Hackman. So he had heart disease that was exacerbated by having Alzheimer's. So he passed away from that. Like some of the last activity that they noticed with the heart monitor was February 17th. So they believe he passed away around February 17th or February 18th. And his wife, Betsy Arakawa, they believe she passed away first. She was actually younger than Gene Hackman. That was his second wife, and they had got married in the early 90s and had been married all the way up until they passed away. And she was a classical pianist from Hawaii, and she passed away from hantavirus, and that's pretty rare. You can get it from a mouse or a rat, so I guess she got bit or somehow exposed to it at some point in time, and that's what she passed away from. And they believe she passed away on February 11th, so about a week before Gene Hackman had passed away. She was found in the bathroom, and there were apparently pills that had scattered on the countertop, and there were pills around her. She was on the floor, so they're not sure if she maybe was taking medication or something and maybe had fell, and that's why she was where she was. And they don't know if Gene necessarily realized that she was passed away because he had Alzheimer's. So if you ever dealt with anybody, if you have any knowledge about Alzheimer's, don't pretty much have very strong memories and sometimes can't connect to what's going on. So they heavily rely on people that are around them to kind of take care of them, let them know what's going on, comfort them. And it was just him and his wife and their dogs living in that home. I guess they had lived a relatively quiet, recluse life once Gene had retired from acting in the early 2000s. So it was just them two. So he may not have even realized that she was no longer living. And then he, at that point, maybe a week or so later, passed away. They say he was found in a mudroom kind of off from the kitchen. So I'm not sure if it was like due to lack of eating or anything like that that kind of exasperated that, because I'm not sure if he was cooking for himself or really able to take care of himself outside of his wife being there. So by the time they were found, they had been, I want to say, maybe deceased for a couple of weeks. They were already in a state of decomposition and starting to mummify. So that means they hadn't passed away recently, because that only starts to happen after some time has passed. So very sad. Gene had a will. Both Gene and his wife Betsy had a will. So in Gene Hackman's will, he left everything to his wife, which makes sense. That's kind of normally how it goes. Gene Hackman had 3 kids from either one previous relationship or maybe multiple relationships before, but he has a total of 3 kids, and his children were not put in the will. It was leaving everything to his wife. But since his wife passed away, she cannot then inherit that money, which I believe was 80 million. I was hearing was the value of his estate, and his wife had a will that if she passed away within a close window of him passing away, then the money would go to charity. So we'll see if any of the money will make its way to his children or if it will all go to charity based on his wife's will. So I'll keep an eye out on that and report out as more information is available. But may they all rest in peace. Gene Hackman was 95 and left behind a lot of acting work. He had a really good reputation in Hollywood. I don't really remember him being a part of too many scandals or anything. And obviously, the press let him live his last years in peace because I don't remember seeing too much about him. Honestly, I forgot about him until the story kind of came up. So I think that's great they were able to live the way they wanted to live and weren't hounded by paparazzi in his later years, and especially given his health condition, I think that was really great that they gave them space, and I hope their last years were together were great and happy. And let me know your favorite Gene Hackman movie, if you followed him as an actor, if you're familiar, very curious to know. And I want to do a correction. So on my video titled Nightmare Flights and Arrest Updates for G Money Little Ronnie, who's a rapper out of Fort Worth, Texas, I said it was took place in Houston, but it actually took place in Fort Worth, Texas, not Houston, Texas. He passed away along with his young daughter, Romani, who is 5 years old, and it was in the Forest Hill area of Fort Worth, Texas. So I wanted to give that correction for there. And also, the mom of the young daughter, Romani, has come out and provided clarification that her daughter did not just have a birthday and just turned 5. She had attended her cousin's birthday party, and Romani's birthday was not actually until July. So I wanted to provide those clarifications and updates on there. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be live again tomorrow. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you later. Thanks for watching.